Around the Ozarks is now on your FM radio. Listen to Around the Ozarks mornings with Grace Gooley as I spotlight local people, stories, and podcasts, all while playing the country legends of the 90s and the hit makers of the 2000s. It's on the Ozarks Best Country, 105.1 The Bull. Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Jim's Steakhouse and Pub, Kitchenland USA, and Springfield's locally owned Fazoli's. I'm going to start today's podcast with 3 words, and I'm just going to throw these 3 words out and let you sort of ponder that one, and then I'll give you the backstory on it. Or better yet, my guests will give you the backstory on it. Here are the 3 words. Andy Williams salad. All right, I'm just going to leave it right there. Andy Williams salad. And if you want an Andy Williams salad, you can get it at Mr. Gilberti's place in Hollister, Missouri. It's off the beaten path. It's worth the trip. And I'm talking to the current owner, James Tolliver. He and his wife bought the place a few years ago from Wayne and Susan Gilberti. Sadly, Mr. Gilberti passed away a few years ago, but Mrs. Gilberti lives not far away and was kind enough to join us. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking time out of your day to talk to me about this amazing restaurant. And Susan, I want to start with you. You ended up here with your husband from Chicago. How did you wind up in the heart of the Ozarks near Branson, Missouri from Chicago?
Actually, we were in Nashville visiting relatives, and we were looking for a place to get out of Chicago. And somebody down there said, go to Branson, Missouri. I never heard of Branson, Missouri. So we drove down here, because we were taking a road trip anyway. We drove down here. We walked downtown. Our original place was downtown Branson. So I saw a picture of this restaurant on the realtor's window, and I went in there and I said, I want to see that place. Went down there, looked at it, and bought it.
What year was that?
That was in 1990, I believe. 1990, 1991, right in there.
Okay, I'm trying to remember when Branson sort of really ended up on the big map. 60 Minutes, that was it around?
We moved here, this place boomed. My daughter-in-law was visiting Paris, and she called me and she says, they're talking about Branson, Missouri here. Yeah, it just went crazy.
And what did they say when you said you were going to move to Branson, Missouri to begin with? Did that, like your kids, like did they say, where? Just like you did?
Yeah, we never heard of the place. So that was it. They stayed in Chicago because that's where all their friends were. They worked there. My son had his business started there. So they stayed there, and I came here.
So the two of you, I think both of you had a pizza place or grew up with family that had a pizza place in Chicago, correct?
Yes. Wayne's family owned a very famous pizza place in Chicago, and his grandmother is the one who taught me. When I started going out with him, he took me there, and she grew me. And I'm telling you, that woman was tough. If I didn't do what she said, or if I messed up too much, right in the back of the head with a spoon, she hit me.
Very Italian grandma thing to do.
Very Italian, yeah.
Can you tell me the name of the place? You said it was famous.
Let me think for a second. It's been a long time.
He used to always tell me that his grandmother used to work in Uno's.
Yeah.
Was it Pizzeria Uno?
Yeah, Uno's.
From there, she owned her own pizzerias.
Yeah.
And that's where he got his love of pizzerias. And that's kind of why it was the Mr. G's was the dive bar, kind of Chicago-style dive bar pizzeria.
Okay, so do I have it right that he started with Uno and then started his own from there?
Yes, that's correct.
You guys came from a pizza background.
Oh, absolutely.
And you had, after you left or he left Uno, opened his own. Was it also in the city of Chicago?
Oh, yeah. City of Chicago on Lincoln Avenue.
On Lincoln Avenue. Okay.
Lincoln Drinkin' was one of them, Lincoln Drinkin', and that new place was another one. We had two of them.
You had two restaurants. Wow. Okay. Well, why did you decide you wanted to leave Chicago?
Because Chicago was just starting to get trashy, and I was just getting where I just didn't want to be there anymore. I just wanted something different. You know, I said, there's got to be more out there than this. So we sold the restaurants, and we took a drive, and we found this place, Branson, Missouri.
Well, you couldn't have gotten any polar opposite than Chicago to Branson.
It was absolutely, I loved living here. I loved moving here. When we came here, it was quiet. You didn't have to lock your car. You didn't have to lock your doors. You didn't have to worry about anybody hitting you in the head when you're walking down the street. I could cross the street at midnight if I wanted to with a handful of money to the bank. Nobody would bother you. That's what I loved about this place. And right after we moved in, then it just exploded. It just got a boom, and everybody found out about Branson, Missouri, and the quiet little town was no more.
Outside of Nashville, it was kind of the entertainment capital. People came here, big stars came here.
Stop right there at the corner at Commercial and whatever.
You said the buses?
Yeah, the buses that would come in from the motor coaches for town. And they would drop them off right there at the. At first, it wasn't a parking lot. It was right there by Lakeside Motors and stuff. They would just drop them off, and I'd be standing there with flyers, handing them flyers for the lunch, and trying to get them to come down the hill to Mr. G's down there.
So now there is a Mr. G's still downtown, correct?
Yes.
Was your place called that as well, or was it Mr. Gilberti?
No, it was Mr. G's.
That was the original restaurant in Branson that they owned when I was a kid. My dad used to drink at the bar, and I used to just kind of hang out in the restaurant with my dad, and so Miss G just kind of let me come hang out in the kitchen with her. So, and from there,
I put him to work.
So you're sitting there thinking, if this kid's going to come in here and hang out with Dad, I'm going to teach him something.
You better believe it. Yeah. And I kept him in there so he wouldn't be on the streets. So I made him work. I found work for him.
Right.
Yeah. I did. I found a lot of work for him. It was cleaning or cooking, whatever. He was there. And then this one time, he's cooking. I put green peppers in the microwave to warm them up. A big bowl of them. And you know how damn tall he is. Mm-hmm. He takes this and he puts it over my head. I says, Andy, don't do that. One day you're going to spill it on me. I no sooner said it.
Shit spiked white.
And I was wearing green peppers. I could have killed him. Could have killed him.
Olive oil.
You dropped the peppers on her?
On my head.
On her.
Olive oil and
like
green
14,
peppers.
15 years old, maybe.
Yeah, he was a young punk.
Right. I think we just redone the kitchen back there.
We just remodeled everything.
When I first started, it was different.
Yeah.
It had like an L shape, and then you guys opened it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you keep calling him Andy.
See, I call him Andy because that's how I know him as Andy. Everybody else calls him James, but I know him as Andy.
Is your middle name Andy?
James Andrew.
Okay, I started to say, please tell me there's a connection. You just didn't dream that up.
Why did I start calling you Andy?
My dad's name is James, so everybody called me Andy.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Okay, so you're both James, but to differentiate, they called you Andy. Okay, gotcha.
All my family always called me Andy because that's what my mom wanted me to be called anyways.
Oh, well, so you're Andy. See?
Okay.
To me, he's Andy.
He'll always be your Andy. I get that. Okay, so you had Mr. G's in downtown for a long time. Very, very successful.
About 18, I think, when you sold it to Michelle Olsen.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, I'd say.
Sold it to Michelle Olsen when I was about 18 years old or so.
Yeah.
I think.
Why did you sell it and then open another one?
Well, we sold it. And we moved to, I had sisters that lived in Vegas. So when we sold that, we moved to Vegas, and we worked there about 3 months, and Wayne said, I can't stand it here. And I loved it. He couldn't stand it. All right. So we pack up, we move back here. Then I got a job I had a job offer in Alabama, Orange Beach, Alabama. Timeshare. But I wasn't timeshare, I was OPC, off-premise contacts. I was one of those people that are on the street and drag in. Well, I had my own crew. So went to work there for about 4 years, and then Ivan, the hurricane, hit, and it ruined the resort and everything else. So we packed up and we came back here, and that's when Wayne found this place, and he brought me here to see, and this was a dumpy bar. It was horrible. They had a mattress on the floor.
The family that had owned it, the grandfather that always had a bar here or whatever, had passed away several years ago, and it just sat empty.
No, the girls had it. The daughters had it, and they would fight. I was told to me by the neighbors, they would fight 2 o'clock in the morning. They'd be on the middle of the road fighting. So anyway.
This is really a nondescript small house.
Right.
And when you get off the highway and you're driving down here, all of a sudden there's a sign that says 25 miles an hour. You're in a very residential neighborhood, and then boom, here it is. So you were in Branson, and then you left Branson, and then Ivan kind of ran you out of Alabama, and you're like, well, let's go back to Branson.
That's it. Let's go back home. So we're here, and so we bought this place, remodeled the whole front, fixed the outside, painted the sidewalk. We just did everything. Put the fencing up. We did everything. Just remodeled this whole place.
What year was that?
Let's see.
Let's say like 04 or something is, I think, was what my wife figured out.
We sold it in 16?
17.
17? When we had it 11 years, I believe.
Right. Wait, my wife said that we've been here 20 years this year. It's 06. Matter of fact, we've been talking about this.
Here, 20 years?
Right. This building, Mr. Gilberti's place.
You're not here 20 years.
You started 20 years ago.
Oh, I started 20 years ago. Okay.
I tell everybody you're my adopted grandmother, so by proxy, it's still in the same family.
That's right.
So I'm staking the claim that we're one of the oldest family-owned, operated, still in, because for real, she raised me, so.
Yeah.
Well, you're stuck together, like it or don't. And
I wouldn't have it any other way. If I need help, if my son's gone and I need help, he's the one that helps me. He's right there for me.
well, I am so sorry that I did not ever meet or I think I did meet your husband maybe once, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
Be enchanted by him.
Oh.
He enchanted. He knew he had no enemies. Right. He didn't know anybody that didn't like him. And anybody that you talk to will tell you the same thing. When they walked in the door, he was there at his table, whether he was sick or not sick. That's why we had to sell, because he was getting real sick. And I couldn't take care of this and him. But he was there, and he talked to everybody that walked through the door. Didn't dismiss anybody. And everybody just loved that man.
Well, talking to the two of you is a little bit like being at a very active tennis match. I mean, I've never worked this mic so hard in my life. It's one side to the other side, and this is so much fun. But I told you before I started rolling on this that I wanted to tell you how I found this place, like how you ended up on my radar. Remember years ago when the dreadful flooding happened in Branson and Hollister? Okay, I worked at Color 10, the CBS affiliate. I was a news anchor reporter there.
What is your name?
Joy Robertson.
You interviewed me.
Is that where I met you?
You interviewed me in the kitchen.
You know what? See, this girl, I'm telling you, I've talked to a lot of people. And over the years, you're like, I know you from somewhere.
Damn young, I'm telling you. You look younger now than you did then.
Oh my gosh, I knew I liked you. I'm going to stick around this place more often. Well, so was it during the flooding?
It was right after the flood. And they were, in fact, you came in here and Dino and his...
Okay.
They were fixing their house up.
Okay, so here's what happened. I was down here trying to find a story for the newscast. And I'm with a videographer, and I believe it was a guy named Lance. And Lance and I are driving along, and we could see the flooding was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And we're driving along, and I look up and I said, I swear I think that's Dino Kartsanakis, the pianist, wonderful person. Right. And we rolled down the window, and I was like, Dino? And he goes, Joy. And he said, hey, my house is ruined. It's awful. And I said, and being a reporter, you have to ask questions that are really sometimes not, you hate to ask them, but you have to. I said, can we see inside? And he was like, yeah. He said, Joy, I lost all my grand pianos. We had water up to the ceiling, but Cheryl is there. So let me take you down there. You guys go in and get video. I'll talk to you. But first, I got to run to Mr. Gilberti's and pick up the pizza. And my mind is going all directions. I'm like, wait, he's trying to clean up his flooded house, but he's got to get pizza. And I said, pizza? And he said, you're going to eat. Everybody eats. I'm going to go. They're so good. They're open. I'm going to go pick up pizza for everybody. I'll talk to you when I get back. I want you to eat. Have you had their pizza? I said, no. He was floored. He's like, what do you mean you haven't had their pizza? You don't know Mr. Gilberti? And I said, I do not. And he said, you have got to meet Wayne and Susan Gilberti.
Yeah, he's my buddy.
And so he comes back, and that is where you came on my radar. So Dino comes back, and I mean, literally, Cheryl is there. There's some dead fish on the carpet. Like the high water mark was over our heads. It was dreadful. Stuff was everywhere. Pianos were upside down. And anyway, he did an interview, and he provided pizza, as did you, for FEMA and neighbors and anybody who was cleaning out their house. And so maybe we came back by here and talked to you as well.
Yeah, okay. You did. That's when you came by. And I was feeding everybody in the neighborhood, whoever wanted to eat. But when you went into his house, before you did that, the flooding was so bad. They were in a boat going from house to house down there. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, they told me the story of Cheryl swimming in. She managed to somehow get, they were not wanting people to go in their homes, but she did. I don't think she'd mind me telling that all these years later. But she told me a story about how she was swimming through her living room, and she could feel with her feet like some of her artwork, and she pulled with her toes like a priceless ceramic big urn or something, pulled it up and managed to swim it over outside and salvage it. And it was struck by the devastation of the flood, but the kindness of people like you who were open and feeding anybody who needed fed. That was amazing.
Yeah, well, we're a neighborhood, and these are all my people here. They're all my customers.
We live here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you remember that, right?
Right. I was out of town at the time, but I know of it. I got pictures of it. I wasn't actually in town at the time.
Everybody around here has either heard of it or lived through it, and it was just dreadful. But okay, so since we're on the topic of Branson, and of course we're technically in Hollister, which is near Branson, you mentioned the country music mecca. All of a sudden, boom, it's on 60 Minutes. Everybody's coming here. There are busload after busload of tourists, hotels going up all around. So how did Andy Williams wind up with his name on your menu with a salad? Did Andy used to frequent this place?
He started coming down by us when we had Mr. G's downtown. He and his wife and his whole family, every Sunday they would be down, and I would make chicken soup every Sunday. He would have 2 bowls of chicken soup. And when he first started, he'd have 1 bowl, and then he'd order another bowl. And his wife said to him, what are you doing? He says, we can't afford a second bowl of soup.
We put too much money in the Moon River Theater. We have to eat only 1 bowl of soup.
But that's what he had. He always had 2 bowls of soup, chicken noodle soup. And he'd bring his whole family in, and they'd eat every Sunday. And then when we came here, he started frequenting us here with all his friends, and Dino and his friends and family, and
I remember at one of the very first menus he used to, before it was Andy Williams, it was called the antipasta salad.
Yeah, it was an antipasta salad.
And he would come in with his family, and you would make it special, and you'd always make it, and you put it in a metal bowl for him. Mm-hmm. And you'd put it, and she'd always make it a little bit bigger, and it was just always special for him and his family. And
nice and cold and fresh, just like he liked it.
One of those metal mixing bowls, though, and try to make it look fancy, So.
Like some of the Chicago folks that do it in the big metal bowls, and sometimes they spin it in the ice and keep it really cold. And so that was the way Andy liked his salad.
He did.
He was a prince of a guy. One time I was at the Moon River Theater interviewing him about, I don't even know what at the time, but he was just a wonderful person. It occurred to me it was my mother's birthday. And I said, Mr. Williams, if I call my mother, would you sing her happy birthday? And he did. So at her bridge club and her PEO group, she was like a superstar because Andy Williams sang her happy birthday, which I'm sure comes at no surprise to you.
He was a good guy. He was really, when we were closed one time, there was another flood around here. Not as bad, but there was a flood, and we had to close. And here comes Andy and his attorney and his wife. And I think it was just the three of them. And I looked at Wayne and I said, well, what are you going to do? So we tell him, come on in, Andy, So I fed him when I gave him the bill. Now, his bill was maybe $40, $50. I don't know, wasn't much. He gave me a $200 tip. You believe that? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
He plus a $200 tip.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that people like that would come around and support local businesses because, that's what they did. And that's what people in the Ozarks do.
When you're responsible for feeding a group, you want it to be simple. And, of course, you want everyone to love it. Zoli's Catering makes it easy with baked pastas, pizza, fresh salad, and our famous signature garlic breadsticks. It's a great fit for any size office lunch, meeting, family gathering, team meal, or any occasion. Find the menu and order online at fazoli's.com.
Fast, fresh, Italian, Fazoli's.
Some people check the weather, others check our soup of the day. Hi, this is Jim with Jim's Steakhouse and Pub. Our soup of the day changes, but the comfort never does. Just check with your server, because nothing takes the edge off a cold day like whatever's simmering at Jim's.
When you walk through those legendary doors, you're gonna find there's so much to love. So do yourself a favor, dig that service and flavor. Jim's Steakhouse and Pub.
Have you heard the news? Kitchenland USA in Nixa has expanded with a new 2,000 square foot addition. Now they're fully dedicated to your kitchen and bath projects from start to finish, and it's all under one roof. Stop by the new showroom to see and touch the newest sinks, tubs, walk-in showers, faucets, lighting displays, tile, and flooring, all in one showroom.
Kitchenland USA, newly expanded kitchen and bath showroom in Nixa, where your vision is our mission.
You also have a Tony Orlando menu item. I believe it's a Tony's favorite pasta. Tony Orlando, wonderful guy, absolutely great guy.
Yeah, he comes in a lot.
Does he still? Tell me about the Tony Orlando pasta.
Well, Tony Orlando is going to actually be 6 meatballs. And
That's a meatball sandwich.
Oh, it's meatballs. Okay.
Meatballs in the boat with garlic bread, and then you get a side salad. It's we tell people that Tony Orlando, because when I was a kid growing up, my grandmother, all the older ladies, they all loved Tony Orlando. So what we always just assumed is that he was ahead of the curve and he was eating low carbs because the meatballs have very little breadcrumbs in them that we put in them. And so we just always told him that he was ahead of the curve and he was trying to stay fit for the ladies, you know. Just, you got to look good on stage,
That's right.
Tony, he's a showman,
Oh, and just a really, really super nice guy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I just a great.
His wife and his daughter come in here all the time.
And you've got a lot of photos with celebrities on your wall. You kind of got a wall of fame out there, which is really cool. So when did you end up selling the restaurant to this guy? Andy. I'll call him Andy because you call him Andy. When did that come around?
When I started getting really sick, and and there was a woman that came in here. She was a realtor, and she says to Wayne, "I have somebody that wants to buy your restaurant." And he says, "I'm not selling." So she left, and I said, "Wayne, you're getting sick. I can't take care of both you and the restaurant." I says, "We're going to have to sell. You do know that." So she came back again, and I said, "He'll talk to you." He didn't know that he was going to talk to her, but I said, "He's going to talk to you." So they talked, and they worked something out, and that's when Haley came in the picture. And we ended up selling to them.
You worked in the restaurant along with Mrs. Gilberti for a long time, but you and your wife, did she work there as well?
So no, my wife actually went to culinary school in Nashville. From there, she went to work at Mississippi State, and she worked in their bakery for several years. And she's going to tell you that she wanted to move home closer to her parents, which was Carthage, and they own a funeral home there. And so she wanted to move close, but she didn't want to move too close to where, they was right across the street. So she decided Branson would be a good fit. And she came and she got a job at Big Cedar and was a pastry chef out there for several years. And in 2017, she got passed over for a position at Big Cedar, and she was like, it's time to do something else. So she decided that she was going to start her own bakery. And they went around, they were looking at different places. Everything was so high. The rent is so high everywhere. And their friend, their realtor lady that Miss G is talking about, told them that she knew of a restaurant, that they're trying to sell the recipes, the everything, the house with it. And so my wife and her mother was like, okay, we'll take a look at it. They came and ate here, and she said the first time it was good, but she said then the second time, or whatever, right before they purchased it, she noticed that the food had changed. And I think that's kind of when that would be right about the time you were letting me to have more control of the kitchen and stuff like that. Uh-huh. Because to be honest, in 2017, I had gotten out of prison. My dad was a single father, and I just had... It's real easy in this area to get addicted to drugs. So.
Okay.
Take your time. I appreciate you telling me that.
Take your time.
Yeah, take your time.
So in 2017, I got out of prison and I started working somewhere, and my dad kept telling me to go see Mr. G, that he was sick. And it was almost like fate, because the job that I was at was closing their doors. And so I came and seen Mrs. G and Mr. G, and I started to work that week right after 4th of July in 2017. And Labor Day weekend, my wife closed and she purchased a restaurant. And
you were married at the time?
No.
We hadn't
met yet. So when she closed on the restaurant, everybody at the restaurant was freaking out. They had heard through the grapevine. Nobody really knew. And so they sent me to Miss G to ask. And so she's like, oh, it's this young lady. She's a chef. She's bought the restaurant. It's going to be okay. And my first thought was, man, it's a chef. She's going to have her own people from culinary school. I'm out, First thing I thought. But that Tuesday or whatever she walked in, it was like, I don't know. There was something about her when she walked in through the door. From that moment on, me and her had this banter where she would come into the kitchen, and it was not argument, but we would just go back and forth. And I was already, Miss G would schedule me 2 days off, but I would come in and I'd work anyways. And this was my safe zone. And I knew if I was here, I wasn't using.
Well, good for you, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to say, you said yourself that she was looking at this restaurant, and when she came back the second time, the food was better.
Right.
And she's thinking, okay, now I know.
She tells everybody. So
she's thinking, I want to know who's behind this food, and it's you.
Right. And that's what she tells everybody, that she just wanted to marry the best cook in the kitchen to keep the food consistent. I fell in love at first sight. But so, anyways, after that, we started dating, and then we started talking. She's like, "Well, when did you actually start?" And I was like, "I think I was like 11 when I started working for Miss G." And I was like, "I get like a $20 a day or something like that." So I was probably getting like $1.75 an hour. So she's like, "Cool, that's what you're making now."
What a great story. And the fact that you met her, you're doing great, you're both doing great, but you kept this restaurant going. And to your credit, and you can back me up on this, Susan, they kept it in the spirit in which you built it.
Yeah, everything's the same. They haven't changed anything. They remodeled a little bit, but basically it's all the same.
All those good recipes from Chicago.
Every recipe they have is from Chicago. Yeah.
I saw a video of the two of you talking about how you taught him to make the Alfredo. You're very particular and you're known for your Alfredo. You taught him that.
Yeah, I taught Andy how to do it, and I taught Andy how to do everything.
I'm going to tell you that I used to think that you would just make me sitting there stirring it on the ice. I used to just trying to keep me still, because I was just always all over the place. So she would just like, "Here, stand there and stir this," and while I was on its ice bath, I didn't think I was actually supposed to be doing it, but you're supposed to stir it,
Stir it. Yeah, but I kept I just wanted to keep him off the streets, because he was ready to go home. He didn't have to go home. It was still light outside. He could stay right here. Yeah.
Well, good for you. I mean, you just changed a life, and in turn, he changed yours.
For sure. Yeah.
Kept going what you and your husband built here, and all these folks still keep coming back. I mean, this is just a wonderful place. Okay, so you're known for your pasta dishes, your authentic Italian recipes. You've got amazing sandwiches, but your pizza is really, it's just killer. And you've got a deep dish Chicago style that you can get nowhere other than Chicago. Or here.
You can't get it we're the only ones that have it here, unless you go to Chicago.
Because it takes longer to do and bake a deep dish Chicago, doesn't it?
I'll tell Andy, make me a pizza, but don't finish it, because I'll reheat it at home, and it'll finish cooking, and it's great.
So you guys will do that if someone wants a take and bake?
Yeah, we do take and bakes where we par cook the Chicago pans and stuff. And our thin crust is, like when I get here in the mornings, I'm going to par bake a few of the thin crust. That way they're already chilled and everything, and it's like a second bake. So now and then when I top that crust, it's already got kind of the dough already has its crisp built on both sides of that dough, instead of having raw dough with toppings on it and then starting to bake the process. So it just makes the pizza crispier, and when you're putting all the raw meat, because we mix our own ground Italian sausage.
Wow.
So the seasonings that she's taught me over the years, that's what we use. We hand mix it. My nephew's back there. He hand mixes it for me. So we go through like 60 pounds in maybe 2 or 2 days. So.
And you do all this stuff from scratch. I have no idea what that sound is.
That's her.
It's her phone? Man, that is one ringtone right there. So you guys do all this stuff from scratch, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Do you do your breads too and your rolls?
Yes. So I do. So right now our Italian loaf we actually buy from a bakery, and they bring it over to us fresh every day. Okay. So that way we can kind of ease the process off.
Okay, I see. So you do that to give yourself a little time for your pizza.
So like our Italian bread for our garlic bread is made at another bakery, and they bring it over to us.
Okay, gotcha. Who bakes the cakes?
That would be my wife, Haley.
Haley.
Yeah.
Haley does the cakes.
Oh, That's what she went to culinary school for, was to be a pastry chef, and that's what she used to do, all the cake decorating out at Big Cedar and stuff like that.
Well, I kind of figured you were going to say that, but I wasn't sure if maybe you all had the cakes, Susan, back in the day. So that was something they did bring to the table.
They added the cakes on.
That was the kind of you used to always have the Dino's 24-karat cake. That wasn't here no more, like when she kind of took over. So my wife was like, I can make the cake. And so she made a cake one year for, I don't even remember what it was. And she made it one year for a special occasion for like a feature or whatever, and everybody loved it. And so they kind of stuck to that.
She makes
She makes the strawberry.
Everybody compliments. Anywhere I go, they say the strawberry cake is the best.
I wonder if that's the one I had last time I was here. I'm trying to remember because we had been to Big Cedar, and I said, I know exactly where let's go to lunch. And my husband's all over it. Let's come in here. And I said, I was so full. I mean, we had pizza left to take back to the room, right? But I said, I do want a slice of that cake, and I want it to go. And it was in the little container, and it's like, you want a fork to take with you? And I said, okay, yeah, I guess so. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to have any room for this. And I think about halfway back, I opened it up, took a bite. About half that cake was gone before we got back to Big Cedar. Oh, my God.
I've never had it. So I don't know. I've never had it.
You haven't had the strawberry cake?
I have not.
What?
Well, I'm not much on sweets. So one day I'll try it. I will.
Yeah, we go and we do it by seasons. Right now we did red velvet for Valentine's Day. So
yeah.
Have you not had any of the cakes?
No, I don't know.
Susan, Mrs. Gilberti, for the love of all things.
I used to have a chocolate cake. Even Dino's 24 karat. I've never had his cake.
What?
No.
Girl.
I'm not one for sweets. I'm just not.
Oh, but you have to have a bite or two. It's fantastic. Now, I will say that Dino's 24 karat cake is just divine. I mean, it's just fantastic. But what other famous folks have graced your doorway?
Oh,
Barry Williams.
Greg Brady.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, too. Really, really nice.
He's here all the time still.
Clay Cooper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Whitey Herzog.
Oh,
he was here once.
Yeah, he's been here a couple of times actually, because I got an autograph in every photo he signed. There was like 2 or 3 photos I think on the wall. I can go show you.
Yeah, I remember seeing Whitey Herzog on your Facebook page. Photos with him. Right. That's cool.
Yeah, because when he passed away, I was like, my wife's like, I told her, I was like, you need to say so. And he's like, she gets like, he's a St. Louis Cardinals pitcher or coach. And I was like, yeah, but he's ate at the restaurant. And she's like, and I had to show her the picture. I was like, see? She's like, holy cow, he has. So, yeah.
Anybody else you can think of that's come in here? I mean, I can imagine.
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
Oh my
the
God.
Haygoods whole family eats here.
Yeah.
Who? Oh, the Haygoods?
The Haygoods whole family eats here.
You live not far from here, right, Susan? Is that true? You live fairly close?
I live up on Evergreen. It's 15 minutes from here.
Do you come in here a lot?
I don't come in to eat, but I come in and pick up pizzas a lot.
Oh, you come in to get them to take home?
Yeah. My son's with his girlfriend on the weekend, so I have nobody to cook for. So most of the time, I just come in here and I get a pizza and I take it home.
Good for you.
Sausage mushroom.
Sausage mushroom, really?
That's her favorite, Chicago style.
Yeah.
Fan.
So, do you ever have to kind of slap him down a little bit and say you're falling down on the job with the pizza, or you got to get?
I haven't, but he knows damn well that I would. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when Haley first bought the place, and you guys were still staying at the house next door, and one of your friends had came in to eat, and they had ordered a veggie pizza, and I
Messed it up?
Well, no, I didn't. So we normally cut our Roma tomatoes into quarters for our salads, and then for the pizzas, we'll go ahead and cut them one more time into eighths. well, I didn't do it. And Miss G was sitting at the table with her friends, and she noticed, and she came back there. And I thought I had flashbacks of when I was a kid. I thought I was getting ready to get hit with a wooden spoon again. And I was like, she don't even own the place no more. I was like, holy crap.
Set him straight on that tomato thing.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. Keeps things straight. That's right.
Well, your menu is just beautiful. You've got, there's a spinach dip.
Yeah, the Mama B's.
Yeah.
That was, so when I was dating my wife, and I was trying to convince her parents that, this ex-drug addict that's just, recently released out of prison, changed his life and everything, and please let me marry your daughter. Everywhere we go, yeah, right? So everywhere we go out to eat, and I just listened to all the chefs in my life, Mr. Gilberti, and always stick to what you know. And so how I could make her parents happy was through food. And when her mom would go out to eat, she would have to have her own spinach dip, and then she'd order a spinach dip for the table. So I was like, well, I can make spinach dip. And I just made homemade spinach dip, and then I took our pizza dough, and I was like, what if I rolled our pizza dough out in little dough balls and baked it off and threw the spin and makes a play, because I didn't want to use tortilla chips. That's Mexican food. I wanted to, Mr. Gilberti always says stick to your roots, and we're supposed to be Italian. So I was like, I could use deep fried lasagna pasta, and that would kind of act as, but the dough, man, everybody loves a good garlic knot, right? So that's what I went with. It was and put it in the cast iron little mini pans. Now I sell probably like 10 or 12 on a slow day. So
I'll bet you do. No, it's amazing. And that's one way of getting through to the in-laws,
You want her over, right?
Right. Now her dad's upset that he don't have a dish.
Oh.
But,
You better get on it,
right. Mama S is really hard. It's Shane, Valinda kind of went with it. Mama V, Mama G.
Well, you could come up with something for him, I'm sure.
Right.
The tomato bread with the mozzarella and a dipping sauce. Tomato bread. I love just the name of it. Is it just like a small, kind of like a pizza?
It's well, yeah, I guess so. It's on Italian bread. Mm-hmm. It's on Italian bread.
Gotcha.
Olive oil, garlic, pizza sauce, right? Tomatoes, and then your spices on top, and mozzarella cheese. You bake it in the oven. It is so good.
It's been over 9 years, and she just made it.
Yeah.
Better than some of my cooks.
And that's an appetizer. And you bring it out with some kind of like an olive oil dipper or something?
What do you bring it out
yeah,
with?
so that's when we never really had that before. And
No, I never had a dip with
I
it.
started making my own garlic oil, so and the cheese bread gets marinara. And so I just figured the garlic oil would go good with it. And I don't even remember who it was, one of the lawyers from Springfield, they would come down and she would always get it. She would get the tomato bread, and I just started putting it with her. I was like, here, try this. And she loved it. So now that's the way it is. It comes with a little dish of garlic oil. So
it just looks like the exact kind of thing you want to grab that and dip away.
Garlic and and put it in cheesecloth and soak it in 5-gallon buckets of olive oil. So
any dish here is original. I mean, nobody else is going to duplicate it. They can try, but it's made here. Everything is made here. And that's why you work a lot of hours.
Right.
A lot of hours.
Oh, any restaurant is a lot of hours. You've got wings, you've got calamari, you've got soups, you've got these crispy Parmesan bites that look amazing. Are they new?
Yes, so. My wife likes to watch TikTok, and I don't know who it was, but this gentleman, he does this. She's showing it to me, and we're driving down the road, and it looked like a really great idea, but I didn't want to let my wife know that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, nobody's going to know how to do that. It was 2 ingredients. I was like, nobody's going to know how to separate an egg white. You know what I mean? I already knew I could buy egg whites, and it's Parmesan. and all you do is you deep fry it, and then we make our own sauces in house. So that's what kind of separates it. But it was really good. It's a gluten-free, it's just Parmesan deep fried. So I take egg whites, right? And I take just a little bit of egg whites, and it makes the Parmesan into a dough. So the grated Parmesan, and it'll turn it into a dough.
Really?
And then I just roll it out in 1 ounce dough balls. I freeze it, and then I deep fry it. And it's made in house. It's gluten free.
One time.
Even out, if you can have Parmesan and egg whites, you can have it, because you don't even have to eat it with all my sauces.
Something.
So
How about him?
How about you?
So we just kind of follow trends,
Wow.
So it was just something we seen, and I was like, sure, why not? And now we're selling them.
Good.
So, no, and it's just stuff like that you can come here. And you're gonna see stuff that you might have seen on your social media or whatever, and you wanted to try it. Well, guess what? We're trying it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see if it's good. It's gonna hit this table.
Well, and you got a whole kitchen back there and a whole crew of people. Let's give it a shot and see what happens.
You never know. It might be good food. And if it's good food, like those Parmesan bites, they're good. When you bust them open, it's just a big gooey ball of cheese.
Well, you had me at cheese, so you had the big melty gooey ball of cheese, and I'm completely in. Talk about your staff. You've got all sorts of people running around back there getting ready for what'll, I'm sure, be a busy night.
Yes, ma'am.
I bet you have employed so many young people from around here, and frankly, people of all ages over the years.
Unbelievable how many people I've employed.
Right.
And, some worked out really good and some didn't. That's all.
Yeah.
But
you got to put up with the good, with the bad, with them.
Absolutely.
You got to, and some, you taught me along the way, sometimes you got to shut up because, I don't know. It's just, it's hard. You work with so many different personalities, and people don't want to come to work. They don't want to do nothing. They want to get paid.
And then you have other people who show up all the time and spend extra time learning and trying to come up with recipes,
Other
right?
people that will benefit.
That's where it gets hard.
That's who you take care of then.
Right.
The people that take care of you, you take care of them.
Like my day waitress has been with me for like 5-6 years. She comes in, I call her, she comes in.
That's how it should be. Yeah. That's how it should be.
It's a lot of work to run a restaurant.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think if I had a life to live again, and if I was going to marry my husband and he said we were going to do this, I would say, buddy, you're out of here. I'm gone.
Really?
Yeah, I would never do another restaurant because, you have no life. I worked 7 days a week. Every day of the year. I got off on Easter and I got off on Christmas.
But you guys are open, Andy, you're open 7 days a week.
Right, 7 days a week.
Yep.
The biggest thing is availability. You know what I'm saying? If my doors are shut, then you can't come eat. So I'm going to be open. I built my house 7/10 of a mile from here, so I can be here all day, every day. So, and that's what we try to do. So
I think Mr. Gilberti would be delighted if he were sitting
so
here.
Proud of Andy, absolutely. He would just be beaming. Yeah, he'd be bragging all over the place on Andy. Yeah.
He must have been a prince of a guy.
He was very, very much so.
Never met a stranger?
Never. Never, never, never.
no, it was like Cheers when you walked in. The old Mr. G's, he was always behind the bar or sitting in the booth doing paperwork or something. But he was the first one to say hello. He was the first one to tell you, thanks for coming in.
Yeah. When he passed away, the mayor of Hollister sent me a letter.
Oh yeah.
Bragging on him and his condolences and how much he enjoyed his company when he came in. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it hasn't been the same since he passed away, but in so many ways it is the same because you found this guy right here and you taught him right and you married right and you guys kept it right, and you're still here. I cannot thank you enough. The folks from Mr. Gilberti's, make sure I get your names right, Susan Gilberti and James Andy Tolliver, thank you so much for joining me on Savor the Ozarks, and keep on keeping on.
Yes, thank you. Make sure you come in and try us.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you. And it was very nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you, too. Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? You have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.